country anywhere in the world.
It's your morning addiction.
But we were able to use our tools and build evidence that's usable in a court of law.
Wake Up Missouri with Stephanie Bell, the Zimmer News Team.
People are being squeezed across America.
And now introducing your host, Randy Tobler.
You could call it voting trends or anything else, but they're great people. They're the backbone of our country. So we're going to use that money to provide $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers. $12 billion is a lot of money, Meryl. What do you think? Peanuts for you, though, right? Peanuts. She's a farmer of rice. This relief will provide much-needed certainty to farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year's crops, and it'll help them continue their efforts to lower food prices.
Well, there's President Donald Trump helping the farmers. Many of you listening are in the ag business one way or another, and you know how those tariffs have hurt. Altering markets changes things out of your control, but you have to control what you're going to put in the ground next year, the price for the harvest this year, and $12 billion going to economic assistance to American farmers.
But I don't know that, most farmers I know are pretty proud. And they're not excited about taking government assistance. And the reason they're angry is because of, all this imported beef and the stuff with the soy and all that. And they're not saying, give me help. They're saying, stay the heck out of my business. And so I don't know that they're waking up super happy this morning.
Well, yeah, I know. But I think I liken this to what happened with COVID. If you're going to shut my business down, if you're going to absolutely threaten existentially what's going on, you owe me something. Make it whole. You can't do that to me.
But during COVID, we had China release a virus on the entire world. This is self-imposed, right? The reason we have these high prices and these issues are because of tariffs, because of other trade issues, not because we have some sort of virus that wasn't our own fault, right?
This is Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump was the guy that set fire to the house, and now he's putting on the fireman's suit and he's rescuing everyone. Is there any other look at this?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Well, you normally defend Trump, so you're not happy with Trump.
Not on this issue.
Okay. Well, you and I are in agreement. I mean, I don't like handing money out to anyone, and but by the same token, I think it's only fair if the government tells you suddenly, Stephanie Bell, we've decided that lawyers in mid-Missouri can only work 4 hours a day. That's the rule. You would say, what the? You'd say, what the? You'd say, what the? And you say, I want to be made whole.
And then 6 months later, he says, now you can work 12 hours a day. I say, what? Oh, thank you so much.
No, you know what I mean. So I think when the government makes arbitrary decisions, Drake's there's Drake, there's John,
Drake's
I'm Randy.
Laughing because he actually only works 4 hours a day.
You're wearing what is this? Called a Sasquatch coat? Look at us on the Wake Up Missouri YouTube channel or on the Facebook feed. Look at this coat. That coat would keep you warm in 70 degrees below weather.
Have you been outside? Although I do think it's warming up today. I think technically the term is teddy bear coat, and it's probably 3 seasons. They were very popular a few seasons ago. I'm not as trendy as I once was.
You're going to look like that little guy that we had. One of our little grandkids was a little Shep. When we were down there in Thanksgiving, it got cold, and Shannon put on this down, one suitor, one piece suit, and he looked like that kid in who's the little kid, the little brother that rolls around and he can't get up? Was Randy was Randy the main guy? Was Randy the little guy? I don't know their names. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
And he rolls around, he couldn't get up.
Christmas Story.
Yeah, Christmas Story. Yeah, a Christmas Story.
Fragile.
My son-in-law Tracy, he outside on their front porch, on a table between two chairs that are normally in the summer. You sit in the chairs and then you put your mint julep on the. He bought a leg lamp, a Christmas Story leg lamp. That's awesome. So proud of I knew she made a good choice. I knew she is rolling her eyes. My daughter is like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, this is a beautiful thing. No,
you got to get him a Red Ryder.
Watch out,
BB gun.
Watch out, kids! You'll shoot your eye out. Later on, we're going to talk to Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt, Senator Schmidt's going to be with us at 8:08. At 7:35, Brad Jones agreed to. Senator Schmidt could only make it at Brad Jones' normal time. So we asked Brad if he would yield the floor to Senator Schmidt. He says, absolutely. So 7:35, we talked to Brad Jones about his latest economic report from the National Federation of Independent Business. We'll see how things are going there. I really love that report because it, I think, gives a nice, true Main Street, on the ground, close up and personal look at our economy. I really think small business is seriously the backbone and the internal organs of this American economy. And I'm anxious to see what happens there. And Senator Schmidt, give us a little update on the FBI in St. Louis, see what they're up to, as well as his take on the narco boats. And we're going to ask him a little bit about this shutdown. And you talked about it yesterday, Stephanie. I mean, you know, the Democrats keep pounding that, keep hammering the drum. Ding, ding, ding. You know, it's like December 31st. If you don't come up with something, a lot of people's Obamacare exchanges, their premiums are going to go way, way, way up. We want to vote. We want to vote. So they want to force a vote so that they can then say this Republican, that Republican who's up for election in the midterms is voted against sane premiums. I've had patients come into the office say my marketplace policy is going to go up crazily, so I'm looking at doing something different. I think people should look at something doing different. Get off the government policy, get a healthcare exchange or some other background, or stay on the cheapest low-level government policy, and just do a cash for pay type business, cash for health business. So there's a lot of ways. This is actually going to help the marketplace. It's going to be a good thing.
Good.
And so all you farmers out there who, when you get your check from Donald Trump, make sure Stephanie's just sitting there, saying, "What are you doing, taking money from the government?" Is that what you're saying, Stephanie?
Well, it's and the downside is for the farmers, this is a one-time check.
Yeah,
it's not a subsidy plan where we're going to prop them up for a while, but hopefully the market reopening in China will help them out in the long term, if not the short term.
That said, I think there have been several. I didn't realize this, but there are several. There have been several helpful plans for farmers that have been rolled out apparently, before this. So there's been some other things that have been brought to bear. But why of course, the other argument about this is China subsidizes all of their industries, right? Well, that may be a broad net I'm casting there, but that's how that economy is able to, flood.
So is the argument we should be more like China?
I thought you liked to win.
I don't want to live in China.
But I thought you liked to win. But if they're playing dirty, do we need to play, quote, dirty? I mean, I'm asking the question rhetorically. If China is subsidizing, let's take computer chips back in the day, and they flooded the market with computer chips.
And we're still kicking their rear in just capitalism and like technology and advancements. They're trying, but we're still outpacing them by pure innovation. Not on energy, but on, I think, chips.
I've heard a lot of people that are industry analysts on tech saying, while we're in a race, I think we are going to win. I think we are That's
winning.
different than we are winning, because I've heard people say that we sort of went to sleep with Sleepy Joe while we were buying cheap solar panels from China and everything, and we gave them a 4 or 5 year head start on everything from AI to hypersonic technology to a lot of stuff.
I don't believe that. And if we did give them a head start, I feel like we can catch up
pretty
quickly.
We can.
I think what we need to do is, I don't think China's playing a long game, and I don't think Trump with the farmers is playing a long game. And I think that's what you're saying and what John's saying is with this one-time incentive, we put a Band-Aid on things, but we need to think long-term how we let farmers do what they do and make the money that they should make and stay out of their business.
800-529-5572. 800-529-5572 if you want to call in with your thoughts on this. And 573.
Yeah, sorry.
573-874-9390 if you want to text us. But I think the discussion, John, is about, I mean, I don't know if I'm a farmer and I got hammered because for whatever reason I read a story about some farmers had to sell their beans this year at low prices. I know some store it and they wait for the market to improve, and I got friends that do that, and that's fine, but that costs capital, and I think there's some farmers that maybe don't have the means yet to store all they harvest and whatever. I don't know all that economics of it, but so if the government told me I had to do something and got in my way and now is saying, look, here's a little restitution for that, I think that's a fair deal.
When the story broke yesterday, I went and looked at the commodity price for beans, and it was like $11, give or take, a bushel. Then I looked at the production cost for Missouri bean farmers, and it said $9 to $12 a bushel on their production costs just to break even. And it's like, ouch. I mean, those are some pretty thin margins.
That's little to no margin. You're right. So, you're right. I mean, we all want the ideal, leave me alone, farmers say. However, the farmers do appreciate when there's drought conditions and things happen that are out of their control, and then they do enjoy getting a little bit of help now and then. We have those programs in place. We do.
I don't think they
There's
enjoy
crop
it.
insurance and stuff.
I think at some point, you're in a position where you want your business to continue. And again, I'm not saying don't take the government money. If they're doling out all the cash, take the cash. Don't put yourself in a disadvantaged position compared to other people in your industry. But I wouldn't say they necessarily enjoy it.
573-874-9390. If you're a farmer and your beans left you at a net loss because the input costs were more than that, do you agree with Stephanie that this is a onerous, hold your nose and take it kind of thing? Or is it like, no, it's what you deserve it because the government forced you to take a lower price because they altered the markets with government intervention? Every time the government gets involved in something, I'm here to help. Don't worry, I'm taking care of you. It's going to be really good. Donald Trump fell prey to, if he'd have just done, like we all realize this, if he'd have done reciprocal tariffs from the get-go without these draconian 150% tariffs, we wouldn't be having this discussion this morning. We all said it at the time. It's like, what are you doing? He does a lot of good stuff, but that was a little reckless, I think. Drake?
Well, even with the tariffs and disregarding that, I mean, China's been trying to invest in these South American countries like Brazil to boost their production of beans and soy and all of that to send to China. So either way, I think that the farmers are in a situation where something has been needing to happen, and I feel like these tariffs have kind of sped that up where, now they're feeling it now instead of when China actually doesn't need us anymore.
Now, Dave is scolding us, saying, please stop saying the tariffs are the reasons for I didn't say that, Dave. I didn't say the tariffs are the reason for the elevated cost. I said the tariffs are the reason that you can't get the same price because it shut down your markets. So the costs are a separate discussion. I'm saying your prices have been artificially lowered by government tariff policy. Those are two different things. So let's get that clear. Price is low. They're not going after the middle guys that are the price gouging. Start doing some homework and you're understand. I understand that that's part of the deal. But the tariffs affect those people too, because the parts for the trucks, for the middlemen, and the machinery to take care of all of that distribution too. Tariffs are the immediate cause of this latest problem, at least in whole, when it comes to market shutting down. And when you have less demand for your crop, you can't demand the same price. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. 573-874-9390, Daily DC Rundown when we come back.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
asking us to destroy the structure of government and to take away from Congress its ability to protect its idea that the government is better structured with some agencies that are independent.
Wow. Arguments yesterday in the court. Here's Stephanie with the Daily DC Rundown.
And Supreme Court watchers say that the Supreme Court appears poised to strike down the law that restricts the president's ability to fire this FTC commissioner. Again, it was Rebecca Slaughter, who was Trump's own first-term nominee. Trump fired her from the FTC because saying that she was inconsistent with the administration's priorities. Current law that they're again, looking at striking down allows firing for only inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. The ruling could affect 24 different independent multi-member agencies like the NLRB, Consumer Product Safety Commission, and others. The lower courts had ordered her reinstatement based on this 1935 precedent, which we talked about yesterday. The Solicitor General, our own Missouri's own John Sauer, called this precedent an indefensible outlier and a decaying husk that must be overruled. The conservative justice worry that Congress could then designate other agencies, even cabinet departments, as independent to try to thwart the president's power, while the liberal side of the court pointed out, hey, this could potentially provide the president massive, uncontrolled, unchecked power. So we are expecting a decision on that in late June or early July. We've got Trump announcing aid to farmers, but let's stay on SCOTUS for just a minute. The SCOTUS is going to hear another case today on coordinated spending and campaign finance. The Senate Republicans' campaign arm has, I guess the challenge started in 2022 by Republicans. Democrats are fighting back. The GOP is arguing that these restrictions violate First Amendment rights, and we're expecting a ruling on that by summertime. So back to the farmer aid. Please weigh in 573-874-9390. Trump announced yesterday $12 billion in total aid, up to $11 billion in, again, one-time payments for crops covered by the USDA's new Farmer Bridge Assistance Program. And we've got $1 billion other dollars earmarked for commodities not in that program. Farmers are a big part of those who supported Trump and have been pretty vocal in pushing back against some of his policies, and now he is stepping in to try to help them out. We are also hearing that Ukraine is not poised to take any of the deals that we've been talking about over the last several weeks. Zelensky rules out giving up Ukrainian land. Trump said himself that he doesn't think Zelensky is ready to approve the deal. So, been kind of, we keep getting these like, oh, we're making progress, and then in the end, no one's agreeing to any of these purported deals.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Putin's out to take all of Ukraine eventually.
And Randy, your very favorite Jasmine Crockett has officially entered a race for the Senate.
Oh, yes. Did you see her announcement video?
It
was something. Back with more after this.
Has America been fair?
Message is it is really important for us to provide stability and continue to invest and empower Coach Drinkwitz with what he needs to take the next steps. And, that is going to be with the resources he needs to continue to invest in his staff, in NIL and other areas to bring in talent and really provide the kind of team that we need to continue to elevate. So it was a unique opportunity and at a special time, and I really appreciate Coach Drink and his agent and our leadership throughout the whole process.
Well, that was Athletic Director Laird Veach when the details of Coach Drinkwitz's contract came out, and pretty interesting contract where this thing has automatic extensions in it with sweeteners beyond 2031. A commitment to increase money for staffing. And I'm sure that Drake will love that so that Kirby Moore can get more money for his input, right? Drake, you're loving that, right? With his play calling? Drake will have more money to shovel his way.
Yeah, until we go, 7-5 next season? Because, we need some change, and that's where I see the weakest link. Shake it up, Eli Drinkwitz. You have money to buy someone that's actually good. I don't know why we're spending all this time on Kirby Moore. I'm sorry.
No? Well, you're the one that's... Well, you talk about how you don't think you think we need a new offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Because they either run Hardy too much or they don't run him enough. Or, whoever. He or Roberts.
He was good the first couple years because no one had seen all of his bag of tricks. Like, he had a bunch of trick plays, fun plays, and now everyone knows. You can't run those plays anymore. They just get stuffed, stopped,
like you're saying
broken.
yesterday with technology, you have to change. You have to embrace change. You have to keep changing, reinventing yourself.
Yeah, and whenever you're an offensive coordinator, you want to scheme around the people that you have, and running up the middle every single play does not work, especially with a quarterback. We lost 2 quarterbacks this season.
Yeah, that was tough, wasn't it? So escalating annual salaries, about $200,000 a year. And then significant performance incentives, an increased $16 million assistant salary pool. How many assistants are there to divvy up for $16 million? What does an assistant coach make in big-time college football?
I don't know how much they make, but there's usually 10 to maybe even 20, just depends on how many you have and what they do.
Really?
You'll have one for Eli Drinkwitz was a tight end coach at Auburn.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, and all of these positions have their coaches, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into a football team.
Like a $64.5 million contract over 6 years, and then rolling automatic 1-year extension each time Missouri reaches at least 8 regular season wins.
Pulled up the SEC numbers, and it said guys like Pete Golding and some of the defensive coordinators in the SEC are making $2.5 to $3 million a year.
Wow,
not too shabby.
Where do I learn to do that?
Should have been playing Pop Warner instead of sitting in the band.
Holy cow! Yeah, what was I doing playing in the band? I don't know. And then, of course, the buyout terms are interesting as well, and I'm not sure I understand all of them, but that's always a big deal. I think he owes them a fair amount of money if he goes somewhere else as a little bit of a leash. If they fire him, for without cause, in their finger quotes, then they owe him a fair amount too.
That makes it so they can't just fire you willy-nilly. It's just you have to be playing really bad to get fired, because then you have to pay that out.
Yeah. So, you got a prediction for next year? What's the record next year? It's 8-4 this year.
16-0.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to do the math of how we win the national championship.
You'll have to add a few games there, won't you?
Well, yeah. We got the conference championship when we go undefeated in the regular season, and then we have a bye. We play 1, 2, 3 more games. So I guess it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6. John, help me out with math. I'm not good at that.
Okay, so hey, if you want to call us, apparently the call-in line is someone tried to call on the farming thing. Call 573-874-9390 in case you call the other line, 573-874-9390. Yeah, so look, I think we were having this conversation about the $12 billion package that the President, Brooke Rollins, USDA secretary, rolled out yesterday that said that we're gonna help the farmers out because the markets have hurt them. I think they didn't. I mean, the subtext there is we all know that the tariffs had something to do with altering where the Chinese were buying their beans and other commodities from. Brazil, and I think was it Argentina they went. And there's no doubt that input costs for the farmers have gone up because of tariffs. I mean, don't the cost of parts to repair the stuff that you need to farm, doesn't that go up because of tariffs? So you have costs.
Yeah, you priced a combine lately?
Oh, my gosh. It's like, what, like $1 million?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. They're high. So Dave says that there's a lot going on, a lot on the production side of agriculture. What's going on the real estate side? It's crazy. Well, let's talk to caller TT. How you doing? What do you think of these prices? First of all, what is the challenge to the farmers right now from your perspective, and what do you think about this one-time payment to help things out a little bit?
The one-time payment will help somewhat, but it's just going to change hands. Basically, these guys are waiting. A lot of them are in trouble, and they're going to have to turn around and pay the people they're purchasing from, whether that be the equipment dealers, the fertilizer dealers, seed, chemicals, so on and so forth.
For last year or this year? Or the coming year?
This would be for last year's inputs.
Okay.
Because they're still selling grain. We had a great harvest, but the price is incredibly low compared to the inputs to put that product.
And what drove the prices low?
Too much. There's way too much crop out. There's too much corn, too many soybeans. Just world supply is big.
Yeah.
But yet inputs are extremely high. Yeah. Just like somebody on your deal said, have you priced a combine lately?
Yeah.
This goes way back before this, though, and it's too complicated to probably spend your entire hour. But let me tell you this. I'm not a farmer, but I work with them every day. My job is involved in that. The consolidation in the industry in terms of the people that supply products to the producer. Also, the consolidation amongst the farmers themselves. A lot of these farmers that are pretty recession-proof, that own a lot of their land, this is going to be very beneficial to them. They're going to be able to go out, maybe rent more land, maybe buy more land along with this, as long as they were, in good shape financially. The ones that aren't in good shape financially, they're going to have to use this money to pay people like me that sold them products that they owe for. And they're not going to get ahead. They're going to turn right around. Yeah. That's going to make them late into the spring. Then they got to get their money from the bank again and start over.
So it's a cycle.
There's not enough equipment manufacturers. There's no competition in that. The fertilizer industry, there's no competition in it. All the major chemical companies, there's only 4 major chemical companies. And this thing just continues to consolidate down where there's not competition in the market.
So let me ask you this. On a large, high-level view, the cost of college education has skyrocketed beyond the CPI for decades. The cost of health care far outpaces the CPI for at least 2 decades. Over which time, and now I'm hearing that the farm, the cost to farmers goes up and up and up. Green stuff is so darn expensive, it's unbelievable, right? And so is whatever other kind of stuff color you buy, orange stuff or whatever else. The equipment. What is the common? I'm proposing this as a hypothesis. The common denominator between industries where the cost to the producers and the regulation of the prices and all the manipulation, the common denominator is the more the government gets involved, claiming to help with subsidy supports and this and that support, and we're here to help you, and we're going to help students borrow money. We're going to make patients buy insurance and give money to insurance companies. What happens? You get consolidation, price escalation for the consumer, and the person producing the product doesn't get anywhere beyond the start, right? So
pretty much.
Isn't it true that government intervention doesn't really help the farmers in the end?
No, it just makes them, and it gets worse than that.
It makes them more dependent.
When you got the conservation programs and everything, depending on the administration, the previous administration was idiotic about environment. So can you imagine all the controls they were putting on and asking the farmers to do to try to equate to Biden stuff? Yeah. But to get that money, which they're used to getting from the your ASCS office, you had to comply.
Okay.
And there's so many things you've got to comply to. Now, if Trump wants to give them $11 billion back, that's great, but go through the ASC office and get rid of all these stupid regulations.
All right.
And clear the table, and they'll start making more money.
Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Look, we've said it once, and twice, and five times.
Trump did this in his first administration. Yep. What did he give the farmers? It wasn't just bean farmers. I mean, it's beans and hog farmers and corn. And, $4 or $5 billion the first time around. Same deal because of the tariffs they put on Chinese goods.
As I understand it, what led to these massive government programs to, quote, help farmers, where you have to belly up to the USDA office and tell them how many acres you have and what'd you farm and, did you pick your nose while you were on the combine or not? I mean, it's crazy. They want to know so much. I've got a little government program, a little EQIP program or whatever, one of these conservation. My God, what you need to do is crazy. And I would do it anyway, but I do it. But you have to document this, show me the receipt, that, whatever, and you get a little pittance back, whatever, that's fine. But, it seems like these were born out of truly desperate times. We have a drought. We have a terrible recession. We have whatever. What's wrong with one-time government programs? We all get together like a community chest, sort of like a FEMA, but not FEMA. You have a disaster. Everyone gets a little surcharge on their tax bill that year.
But what's the disaster here?
No. I'm saying, but what happens is you get these government programs that are then they take a life of their own, and many farmers become dependent on them. And I just
talk to the dairy farmers back during the Reagan days if you want to hear some horror stories.
I don't know, guys. It's a tough call. We'll be back and make Missouri healthy again when we come back. Stay tuned.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
Hey, and Make Missouri Healthy Again, I want to ask you to ponder Charlie Kirk's final book, finished just a few days before he was murdered. It's come out, and his wife, it might be something to, read or put in your stocking or someone else's stocking. Maybe you and your SO or spouse read it together and maybe think about it. He starts out, it's called Stop in the Name of God. And I think that's telling. It's called Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. What does that have to do with health? Well, I think it has a lot to do with health. He talks about, apparently in it, he goes into the history of the Sabbath and how he thinks it's an existential type of a tradition and, for some, a religious mandate. He said, in this book, I intend to persuade you of something that may at first seem quaint, old-fashioned, or even unnecessary, that the Sabbath is not merely a helpful tradition or a cultural relic. It is essential to the flourishing of the human soul. He talks about, and Erica Kirk, in her foreword to the book and in some of the now promotional appearances she's had about it, talks about how they put away their phone for a whole day, and they found it uplifting and refreshing and rejuvenating. My mission in writing this is very simple, he says. He writes, I desire to bring all humanity back to God's design to rest for an entire day, to cease working, to stop in the name of God. So then I think about a recent study I saw, and I know yesterday we had a pretty nice discussion about AI, and, I think on balance, the thought is an awful lot of opportunity and tons of great things and productivity and advancement and problem solving and maybe cancer curing that's going to happen. However, it's another technological influence on us and tug at our strings. Recent studies showed that 62% of people experience recurring digital burnout with constant notifications, social media overload driving the exhaustion. 47% say their browser distracts them just as often as it helps them focus. This is a survey, scientific study. 92% want personalized browsers. So the point is, I think we all know, somehow we all feel it, and I think Charlie Kirk's right. I think to the extent that you don't have to maybe be on your phone for a day, and it might feel real awkward, but I know we've begun turning off the TV earlier and earlier. I find myself doing that. I come home and catch up on what's going on, and starting to get ready for the show. And then I figure, you know what? I don't need the TV going and my iPad going and my phone going. So I can learn what I need to learn with one platform. We sort of get addicted to how much technology can we have because we get FOMO. You don't want to miss anything.
I don't have a TV on my main level. It's not a
you're
problem
smart.
for me.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
How can you watch 4 football games at the same time without half a dozen TVs?
Screen in, screen in, screen. Picture in picture in picture. So I think it's maybe some semblance of this, at least just from a philosophical standpoint, might be a good thing. Drake, do you think you could do that? Could you turn off your electronics for a day?
Depends on what day. Like today I probably could, or Wednesdays, but I mean Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, no way. I got to watch football.
He has to place his bets.
There you go.
573-874-9390.
Randy is disturbed.
Does anyone in the family do this? The Wake Up family? Do you actually sort of observe a Sabbath of some kind? Maybe you keep the electronics on, but you just don't do work.
Look at Orthodox Jews.
Yeah, I know.
They don't work. They go to temple and they don't cook. That kind of stuff. They don't turn lights on.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got the right idea.
I don't know. It's just something to ponder because the study says we know that it may not be good for our souls, but yet we keep doing it. Oh, Neil Gorsuch, Justice Gorsuch, really put a skewer in one of the plaintiffs the other day. We'll talk about that when we come back at 7:08. And then we're talking business at 7:35.
And I'm wondering, I'll be honest, I'll put my cards on the table. Maybe it's a recognition that Humphrey's executor was poorly reasoned, and that there is no such thing in our constitutional order as a fourth branch of government that's quasi-judicial and quasi-legislative. Maybe you're trying to backfill it with a better new theory that itself recognizes that we've got a problem.
Wow, that was Justice Neil Gorsuch basically telling this Amit Agarwal, who was the attorney for the fired FTC commissioner yesterday in court. It's like, you're trying to make something up here that I don't get any sense out of. And you're just admitting we have a problem with this, 90-year-old rule, right, Stephanie Bell?
Yeah, the precedent comes from, I think, 1935.
Humphrey Executor, it's called. And I think this is what the whole issue here, ladies and gentlemen, as we talk about this really important issue, because what's at stake here is, does the president have the right to make more of a political sway to these so-called independent agencies? You mentioned them in the first block, the FTC, the National Labor Relations Board, others, right? That's what they're eventually wants to do.
Yeah, the Merit Systems Protection Board, Consumer Product Safety Commission, all of these, there's about 24 independent multi-member agencies that could be affected.
And one side of the argument is, the government side is, these agencies, so-called independent agencies, have become a fourth branch of government. And they've become essentially they have the ability to really levy heavy fines on you. They can put the big hurt on you. And they have nothing to do with elected. You don't have a voice in that. We, the people, don't have a voice. So the administration is saying, look, the people elected us. We should be able to put our own people in these agencies to be able to regulate it in the way that the people wanted us to be regulated.
Kavanaugh noted broad delegations to unaccountable independent agencies raise serious civil liberty questions.
Yeah. So while it sounds a little bit sort of in the weeds, it's really important, because how many of you have ever been told by a bureaucrat that's, it's like, show me in the law where it says that the percentage of ammonium nitrate in my fertilizer has to be 23.6%, whatever it is. You go back and you look at the statute, and all the statute says is there has to be a reasonable amount of them, right? I mean, it's that kind of a thing. So the regulators get a hold of these things, and they run with the ball, and they become almost like legislative bodies and judicial bodies in their own right, and they wield a lot of power, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen...
Sounds like you're talking about the EPA, is it sounds like you're talking about.
Yeah. Right, and you've seen the court kind of rein back some of this agency power over the last several years. But
Chevron?
it's been a real concern, and whether you're talking about at the federal level or the state level, we see it, John, time and time again in Jefferson City, when you get new leadership in the state, and then as an individual, you try to go do something, and you're like, well, I'm hearing from the top X, but when I go to the person in the, that's actually doing the work, nothing's changed, because oftentimes that doesn't trickle down. Maybe we don't flush out some of those more bureaucratic folks who are, not aligned with the top. They wield a lot of power. And unless it's, a lot of times these issues aren't so big that they kind of bubble their way up to the top, but it's a really big issue if they're putting the hammer down on you, right? So
and you don't have many people in small to medium businesses, you just don't have the muscle economically or the time. You're trying to do your business, and all of a sudden they throw this book at you that they've made up.
That changes every year.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times has Brad Jones with the Missouri chapter of National Federation of Independent Business talked to us about this very thing, where the business owners, it's like a whole new year every time when they think they know the state tax code, and it changes.
I've told you the story of, we had an inspection. So the State Bureau of Hospital Standards, for instance, does an inspection, and this is a little removed from this Supreme Court argument, but I think that's what's driving Trump to want to do this in a different way than it's been done, where they sort of have a life of their own. They're appointed, and that takes some act of Congress to get them out. Yeah, really. And so there was an inspection. The Bureau of Hospital Standards in Missouri does Medicare licensure inspections for hospitals, for like safety net hospitals like I was running. Okay, so when I was not in administration at the hospital, but the delivering doc there. We'd had a case where it's a long story, but basically it's very commonplace when a doctor does an induction, an OB does an induction on a pregnant woman, to like, okay, maybe I got to be in the OR at 7 o'clock and I'm operating, and the induction lady comes in at 7:30 or 8. You've checked it out. Maybe 3 days earlier you checked out the aspect of her cervix. Is everything ready to go? And the nurse will confirm that. The nurse calls you and says, "Hey, everything's as you found it, and here's where we go." And you say, "Good, turn on the induction medicine, the Pitocin," right?
Right.
That's done commonly.
And then you come back to catch the baby.
No, well, and you're going to be in the operating room for half an hour, and the induction's getting started. Okay,
and the inductions are often
right.
12 hours.
But there's someone in the hospital that can cover your induction.
The nurses are the real stars.
But if an emergency happened, another doctor's there to take care of things. Okay,
sure.
This has been done. But the nurse examines the patient, and then the induction starts. It's been done that way for decades. These inspectors come in, and in this case, it was a retired dietitian who was inspecting.
Who I want
God
to
love
deliver
her.
my baby.
She was legendary. For those of you who know, many of you know exactly what and who I'm talking about here. Okay. And I hope she's still retired. I hope she remains retired. Actually, the new people in the Bureau of Hospital Standards are much more reasonable people. But the old administration, this was a decade or 2 decades ago. So they come in. We have a successful induction of a high-risk patient. The next day is when this inspection takes place. And the patient's happy. She had 2 or 3 bad complications. She should have ended up with a C-section. We got a normal delivery out of her. It was great. Everything worked fine. I get called in by the CEO. "Doctor, would you come here, please? The inspector wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Yeah? What's going on?" "You didn't examine the patient before the induction started." I said, "What?" I said, "No one does that." I said, "If I'm sorry. We did it the way it's always been done. That's fine." The statute says that the physician needs to examine. The statute does say that the physician, I don't know if it's been changed yet, the physician who starts an induction must examine the patient, okay? So I then get on the phone with the regulator in Jefferson City, who's no longer that regulator. I said, "That's interesting, because the statute also says that the physician must be present throughout the induction. What happens if it's Friday morning, you start an induction, and you have to fly to somewhere on your vacation on Friday afternoon or evening, and you've started induction for medical reasons?" I said, doctors who sign out to the next doctor, it doesn't say the physician or their designee. It says the physician. And I said, so every doctor, every delivering OB in this state has been out in violation of your law. What's the matter with you people? I used a few expletives too. "Well, doctor,
I'm sure you did.
Well, doctor, it takes 3 years to turn these things around." That is the kind of maddening stuff that drives you freaking crazy, right? And you get called on the carpet, and then you got to write, and the outcome was perfect.
Yeah, and I think from this perspective, at least at the state level, for the most part, every day we're getting announcements about who Governor Kehoe is appointing into these key roles, even some agencies that people would typically, I think maybe say are more independent. So whether we're talking Public Service Commission and the regulation of utilities, whether we're talking the Gaming Commission, regulation of the gaming space, the governor still gets to appoint these. There are statutes that set out certain ex officio and other positions that maybe by virtue of you serving on this, you also serve on this board. But for the most part, I would say at the state level, the governor has a lot of control of these agencies. And if you're getting a result that's inconsistent with the public policy mission and the leadership at the state, you're able to make those changes. The way the federal government is set up right now, based on the precedent that the liberals are arguing, is that the president can't switch these people out, regardless of whether they're implementing the administration's policies or not. And I think, again, Randy, you talked about accountability. When you vote and you get a majority and you have, this mandate, having these bureaucrats stand in the way of your policy objectives seems like something that we need to fix. And it seems like the court is poised to fix it.
How many times have we heard from Randy talk about all the different agencies just on the state level under DHSS with their facilities management agency and their inspectors, and then you even can go over to some of the professional associations like MHA and all that when you have to deal with what is seems to be relatively routine healthcare regulatory matters.
Are you speaking ill of the Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners, John?
Never. I would never do that.
How dare you? Because, of course, we need a board to regulate hair cutting.
Well, CMS, right, Randy, with the
Yeah.
Centers for
that's
Medicaid
what I'm
and
saying.
Medicare? That's one of your favorites, I know.
I know of many instances. I know of one very recently in a rural hospital in Missouri where I don't want to go into too much detail here, but there had been at least two inspections since the development of a new. Remember during the stimulus package when a lot of rural hospitals were given money to update their hospital infrastructure and stuff, and during two inspections things were passed by the inspectors from the state of Missouri on behalf of CMS. Another inspection occurs and they say, "Oh, you don't have this thing here, thingamadoodle that does the whatever safety in case of whatever, bada bing, bada boom." Shut down the OR for 3 months.
Crazy.
Now, I'm sorry. You'd think that at least they could say, and it was a BS nonsense, nothing's ever happened. You got to be kidding me kind of a deal, right? And the point is, they don't admit their own frailties and their own human faults, but they make you pay for it. That's the thing. And I think bureaucrats need
Thank
to
goodness for lawyers.
Well, yeah, but some of us don't have, some of us.
In private practice.
Some people don't have the money to buy a powerful high dollar lawyer. They just don't. And they don't have the ability. So they're at the mercy of the government. And they say, well, okay, I'll do whatever you say, Mr. Government. This is why this country and its initial principles of don't tread on me, led and lived by a virtuous and moral people, is the greatest philosophy of governance the planet has ever seen. And we're on the verge of losing it if we don't remember it, in my opinion. 573-874-9390. Let us know what you think. We're going to talk about healthcare and narco boats with Eric Schmidt at 8:08, and we're going to talk with Brad Jones at 7:35. And we're going to talk about, what is this about Coke fridge cigarettes? What is this about, Stephanie? In a little bit. I don't understand this. Coke, a fridge cigarette. We'll learn about it coming up.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
How bad is Diet Coke for you, really?
It's good for you.
You found
it has
this
vitamins.
Well, ask President Trump.
I mean, he's going to live forever, I think.
You found this story on this very august website called Parent Data.
Emily Oster, she's written a lot. She had a podcast for a while, and she's written several books. If you haven't read her books, I would highly suggest them.
What's her shtick?
She is more like kind of libertarian-ish, and she's very data-driven. So her 2019 book is called Crib Sheet, a data... Come on, computer. It's like a data-driven guide to better, more relaxed parenting from birth to like preschool.
Yeah.
And so she is an economist, or she uses I think she is an economist. And, you know, I think as a new parent, you're constantly getting all these weird things online. It's kind of like Googling your medical problem. And, you know, it's hard as like an educated, informed person to know what's true, what's not. And so she says she debunks myths and provides evidence-based insights on topics like breastfeeding, sleep training, daycare, to help you make better decisions. And she's since written another one, The Family Firm, which is so like kind of later. So a data-driven guide to better decision-making in like the early school years for ages 5 to 12. Very good books, and smart lady.
So,
but she's saying, how bad is Diet Coke for you?
Yeah, so she's questioning sort of the slam on Diet Coke and, well, diet sweeteners in general and diet sodas, right? One of her arguments is that she says the reason that there's been studies that suggest that people who drink diet sodas put on weight is not the diet soda causing the weight. It's just a correlation. They're drinking diet soda because they're putting on weight. But I'm not sure I would agree with that.
Of course you wouldn't.
What do you mean, of course I wouldn't? I don't believe that Diet Coke dehydrates you. She said that. I don't think that's any more than any other caffeinated thing makes you it's like got a diuretic effect, and so it tends to make you pee more, but you're getting a lot more fluid than you are diuretic in most cases. So that's fine. Should you avoid Diet Coke in pregnancy, she asks. If we agree that Diet Coke is fine in general, well, that's a pretty stretch of an assumption. I don't know that we agree on that. But what about pregnancy? I don't know. I never told patients to do that. I tell patients, be sensible about that kind of stuff. But there's no doubt that that there are hormonal changes that go on, and there's changes in your metabolism. There's changes in because you taste something sweet, but you don't get the calories. There are signals that are sent to the brain that make you hungrier for other things, and then you eat more. I mean, there's some pretty good data there.
Well, I run afoul of Peter Thiel if I quote Randy in a previous discussion about diet soda where he says it would disrupt your microbiome.
Oh, sheesh.
It does.
She is, and Randy, you mentioned cigarettes earlier because
fridge cigarettes.
Gen Z has started to call Diet Coke fridge cigarettes because they give you a little break and they're a little vice and like a little... You know, like it's like Diet Coke is to like women that you saw like cigarettes in the 80s. But she says, bottom line, claims about cancer, weight gain, dehydration, or other health harms aren't supported by strong data and are most likely correlation rather than causation. So drink your Diet Coke, people.
Better to drink your water with a little spritz of lemon or lime in it. Sorry, just saying. But that's okay. A little Diet Coke now and then. Not going to kill you. We know that. Back with National Independent Federation of Business, Brad Jones.
I think just local news.
and explaining what kind of affordability he is instituting. And apparently there's a lot to happen here when people start getting their refunds and they're not getting taxed on their tips and their overtime and Social Security. I guess some people on Social Security. So according to Lutnick and Hassett and all of the and Bessent, all of the King's men, all of the Trump's men, things are going to be great next year. Let's see what Brad Jones from the National Federation of Independent Business says. Is it going to be lollipops and rainbows, Brad? And thank you for yielding your normal floor to Eric Schmidt a little bit later. We appreciate you mixing things up a little bit for us today.
I wouldn't do it for anybody but Senator Schmidt. So, yeah, that's fine. No problem. Oh, yeah, it's going to be lollipops. Everything's going to be great. I don't know, Randy.
Is your tongue in your cheek there, brother?
It's a little bit in there. Yeah, it's a little. I was enjoying your discussion on regulations, however.
Oh, man.
And I was speaking of eye rolling. Yeah, I was. Well, there's a couple of bills over in the legislature right now. As I was going through the multiple list of 1,200 that have already been filed, and there's a couple of them actually that say that if the economic impact on a regulation is more than $250,000, the legislature has oversight on those kind of regulations. Now, here's what I'm wondering. Who is it that comes up with the number of $250,000? If it is indeed the very people that are promulgating the rule, why wouldn't that be $245,000 so that it would not have oversight? Anyway, I digress.
Well,
but,
Brad, is there? Let me ask you this, Brad: is there a Congressional Review Act in Missouri, as federal legislators have tried to put forward, where we pass a law? The regulatory agency does their thing in promulgating rules, and then we have to okay it. We have to sort of, put our rubber stamp or not on it to make sure that they haven't gone hog wild with this. Do we have anything like that in Missouri?
Well, there's the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Stephanie can maybe back me up on this one, but it seemed like a number of years, they used to have quite a lot of power. They could actually send back rules, or they could just completely negate rules that came before them. I think there was a Supreme Court ruling that said you guys are acting in a legislative or judicial way, and you can't do that. You're overstepping a little bit. But we do have the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules that can review them and can slap their hand and say, look,
Good.
This really goes beyond the scope of what we intended in the legislation.
Yeah, but it's a big deal for small business when you get slapped with a regulation. And some of them make sense. I mean, look, no one wants anarchy, but I think a lot of business people listening, and you can certainly attest to the fact that sometimes the regulators are way out over their skis, and it just becomes tyranny, frankly.
Well, think about a restaurant, Randy. I mean, how many people are snooping around in restaurants? And I get it. I mean, you've got local safety inspectors, you've got state, you've got a lot of people. Certain industries in particular have a lot of folks creeping around in their business, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And some of it is good. You're right. I mean, we want safe food. We want things to be done properly. But on the other hand, depending on who is doing it, they can be really heavy-handed.
That's Brad Jones, the Missouri director of the National Federation of Independent Business, joins us on Wake Up Missouri.
Brad, it was good to get together with you over the weekend for our Christmas party that we attended. I know in past times, as we talk about regulation, I know you've talked in past visits about, the problem that NFIB members nationwide had with, what was it, the Corporate Transparency Act, and then it had the beneficial ownership, whatever it was called, that was tied to it. Bottom line is, small businesses and onerous regulations, unfortunately, go hand in hand, don't they?
Well, it's sort of death by a thousand cuts. It really is. They'll say, well, we've got this one more form that we'd really like you to fill out, or we've got this one more little thing that you want to do. Well, you start adding all of those up, and all of a sudden, you don't have time to run your business because you're dealing with all this, and a lot of it is paperwork. It's just stupid BS stuff that it doesn't have really anything to do with the business. It doesn't really have anything to do with protecting the public. It doesn't have anything to do with protecting your employees. It's just busy work for somebody that's, you're right, some bureaucrat that's in that's in a cubicle somewhere that doesn't really have all that much to do with the real world anyway.
And if the business person isn't doing it, they have to hire people to do it, and that drives up the cost to the consumer ultimately. Hey, we want to, in the 5 minutes we have left, I want to get to the morning report. Is that out yet? Is the ink dried yet on the monthly report?
It is.
Good.
It is. You guys get it first. It usually is the night before, like way late. So the actual release date is the second Tuesday every month, and so it's the Small Business Economic Trends Survey, and we have our Optimism Index, which is made up of 10 different criteria. It was actually up a little bit. Good. It was up 0.08. To 99, which isn't much. And once again, there's somebody after 30 years is going to have to teach me how to read this, because there's a couple of them here that make no sense to me. One should not be way negative, and one should not be real positive. So the two that kind of leave your head scratching is, and it's the one I always look at. Do you expect the economy to improve in the next 6 months? Down 5. Pretty big downer on that. The next one is, do you expect your real sales to be higher? And that's up 9. Now, it seems to me that if you expect your real sales to be so much higher, that you would also be expecting the economy to improve. The only way I can explain that one, Randy, is this survey is for November, the 1st of November, and so I think they're looking at the holiday season and saying we're really looking to have a good holiday season. And by all calculations so far, it's been a pretty good, really pretty good holiday season. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I want to thank all of our listeners and everybody that went out on Small Business Saturday. That's a huge day for the small business community. This season is a huge time for the small business. There's a lot of small independent retailers that rely on November, December, 1st of January for almost a quarter of their yearly income. So we thank you very much, and you can, if you'd like, you can pretend that every day from now until Christmas is Small Business Saturday. So I thought I'd get that in.
Amen.
But yeah, there's that I think is a little bit weird when you don't expect the economy to improve, but you do think your sales are going to get better. So those are two of the main ones. Employment, labor. John talked about it the other day. We've still just got a problem with finding people. We had 33% that had jobs that they couldn't fill. That actually went up last month. So it's not getting any better. 21% thought that labor was actually their number one biggest problem for small business right now. It's kind of flip-flop between that and inflation. Inflation actually was quite a bit behind that in second place. So we've still got this labor problem. The one thing, if you want to call this a positive, the good news is sort of that you had more that said that they were finding fewer people to hire rather than none. So you can take that with a grain of salt, we sort of had a few people that might have been okay, but that's better than none. And it's not like, they're not still trying to hire. We had over 56 something % last month that tried to hire, and again, it's 90% that said we just couldn't find the people that we needed for the jobs that we've got.
Now, pre-filing is well underway in Jefferson City. What are you hearing from Missouri small business owners at the state level about priorities in the next legislative session?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the details are going to be concerning taxes. And I think, Stephanie, that's sort of going to be one of the big ones. I know that the governor's major priority is getting rid of the income tax, which for all of my pass-through companies out there, my sub-S's and my LLCs and my partnerships who pay their taxes through their individual income tax, anything you do with the individual income tax as far as lowering it is a great thing for many, many, many small businesses. So I'm kind of waiting to see what that package is going to look like. There are some civil justice reform issues out there. One in particular that we're going to be looking at has to do with ADA compliance with your computer websites. This has gotten to be a real major issue. We have one law firm out there that sent out over 70 letters suing small businesses for certain things on their website not being ADA compliant, which is interesting because ADA does not have any compliance criteria for that. So
those pesky lawyers.
It's a shakedown. I'm just telling you. They know exactly how much to ask for, where you'll just write a check and you won't have to hire an attorney, and it's really an issue.
Wow.
So,
hey, well, we'll keep an eye on it, Brad.
We're going to talk about that one. We'll talk about that one later in a different show. But
let's do that.
That's one.
That's an interesting quirk there. Hey, thanks for being with us, brother. I really appreciate it. Look forward to next month.
Problem.
You have a healthy and beautiful and joyful Christmas and New Year. We'll talk to you right after the first of the year.
And you all also. Thanks, Randy.
Take care. John, what's happening in your spot coming up?
Okay, here we go. 7 plump T-bones, 6 yummy crab legs, and 5 golden Marlboros.
What does the inspector say about that? Be back in a minute.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
'Twas just weeks before Christmas, and in the prison yard, a drone-dropped package was found by a guard with steak, weed, and crab legs and cigarettes for days, and to season it all, a tin of Old Bay. Yep, this is the illicit meal dropped into the Lee Correctional Institution prison yard by drone, according to the South Carolina Department of Corrections, at hashtag Contraband Christmas. They said, seems some folks were planning an early holiday Old Bay crab boil and steak dinner, along with some marijuana and cigarettes, all dropped by a drone at Lee CI. Photo from the prison showed a raw steak still in the grocery store package, crab legs, a can of Old Bay, and side plastic baggies of marijuana and a couple cartons of cigarettes, and they grabbed the drone as well. Spokesman said, I'm guessing the inmates who are expecting the package are now crabby. People trying to smuggle, her words, not ours. People trying to smuggle things behind bars used to just toss them over the fence. Now they're using drones and the tiny aircraft flying in. Lee Correctional, they say, has a history of violence. 2 inmates died after they were attacked in separate incidents. The prison located in Bishopville, about 50 miles east of Columbia, South Carolina. So There you go. Steak, weed, and crab legs.
So a drone is dropping off contraband grocery supplies, right?
That's it.
So, like, the inmates are out there playing basketball or soccer or whatever, and all of a sudden this drone...
Pretty much. And that was pretty good load. It wasn't just like it was bringing in,
I know.
a little pinch of dope, but cartons of cigarettes and steak and crab legs.
Where did this come from? Did they define?
Well, they've said it came from, obviously, outside the fences.
Yeah, but I mean, like what? Like an overturned truck or something? Or
somebody.
So just a generous philanthropist?
No, probably a sneaky Pete had it arranged with his buddy inside and said, be out in the yard at 9:11 a.m. and I'll come in over the northwest corner with it and you can grab the drone when he lands.
Oh, man.
So there's, John, I don't know if you know about this, but Japan, I know that they have almost full-on drone warfare in their streets. So their mafia or whatever they have over there, they deliver drugs via drones, and police started using like drones with nets to catch the drugs from those drones, and then the mafia started using drones to catch the police drones to keep their drugs from getting caught. So, I mean, there's full-on drone warfare over in Japan.
You would be amazed at how many public safety agencies down to the lowest level have drones.
Yeah.
Right in these communities.
Well, I know it's like the farmers are using drones and the government agencies are using drones. Everyone's using drones.
I know a lot of sheriff's departments have drones to find people who are lost in the woods or wherever they need it. So,
well, you won't be lost in the woods about learning about AI. That's artificial intelligence. If you're in the mid-Missouri area, we're going to be having a town hall tomorrow evening. Doors open at 5:30 on the studios of 93.9 The Eagle. Tonight, you can go down to KWTO and learn about that on 93.3kwto.com. And you can learn about the NIMBY. There's a NIMBY town hall this evening. So opportunities, no matter where you are in our listening area, to learn about some contemporary issues. And we hope that you'll join us here in Columbia. Stephanie and I will be moderating. Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin and the AI czar from Missouri, Tim Marshevsky, will be here. And we'll talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. There ain't any ugly, according to Stephanie and Drake. No, not a bit. Not a bit. We'll be talking about that. Doors open at 5:30 here in Columbia tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Back with Senator Schmidt in a minute.
Well, I'm glad I could contribute to the mental well-being of so many out there who've been waiting for someone to do that, right? So.
Yeah, that was great. Hey, this narco boat thing has really been just a continuing source of turbulence in the media. Some of your Republican colleagues are saying, well, we got to make sure we watch it about the law of war and blah, blah, blah. Where do you stand today on the whole issue, having been privy to more and more knowledge about the whole incident?
Well, actually, last week reviewed, there's a 40-plus page memo from the Office of Legal Counsel sort of outlining the justification for it. And let's be clear. So the Congress has delegated to the president the ability to designate terrorist organizations. President Trump has done that. He's designated a handful of terrorist organizations, cartels that are trafficking drugs into our country, killing 100,000 Americans every year. The president then notified the Congress that he was going to initiate strikes on these narco-terrorists who are in the high seas, who are finding it more difficult to get across the southern border because we've effectively closed the southern border, and has kept us informed by way of oversight and briefings all along the way. So this doesn't really have much to do, in my mind, about the legality of it. It has to do, you can have a policy discussion about it, whether or not you think it's a good idea or not. But what's really happening is this is just an ongoing effort by the Democrats. And sadly, some of my Republican colleagues kind of take the bait on this every once in a while, to just churn constant chaos all the time. Like, it's one thing after another. This is part of their strategy. They don't want the public to be focused on all the good things that have happened, whether it was the one big beautiful bill, the middle-class tax cuts, the rescissions package, all the things that are happening administratively to cut red tape and open up energy production and our foreign policy wins, all these sorts of things that are out there. They want to talk about a non-story. So you watch, in a week from now, it'll be something else. A week after that, it'll be something else. So there's just no question about the legality of it. The president has core Article 2 powers in the Constitution to defend the homeland. That's what he's doing. There's also additional rationale. These have been labeled as unlawful combatants on the high seas. And so he has the ability to do it. Like I said, you may not want him to do that, but there's really no serious question about whether he can do that.
You talked about the Democrats' strategy, and I think one of their strategy we know is that they run to the courts. Yesterday, a big case before SCOTUS on presidential power. Your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I authored an amicus brief on that case, the Slaughter case, which seeks to overturn effectively the Humphreys executor decision. What is that? It was this kind of decision that's been out there that the president can't fire these appointees, right? And what it has done is kind of supercharge the administrative state. I fully expect, Stephanie, on how you see it, I think they're going to rule in favor of President Trump here and get back to a place where, the American people only pick two with the vice president, but they only elect one person, right, to run the executive branch. What's happened since Woodrow Wilson, really, over the last 100 years, you've had this expansion of the administrative state that's accountable to nobody. So I think it's going to be a big win for accountability, and the president, whoever it is, by the way, will have much more control over the executive branch is what the founders intended.
Yeah, we've talked about this fourth branch of government that no one sees in the Constitution, but that enshrined bureaucracy can just wreak havoc with us. That's Senator Eric Schmitt. He joins us on Wake Up Missouri on a oh my gosh, it's almost into double-digit day now before Christmas, so we're running down towards the time.
Senator, we've got the congressional district maps both being heard in federal courtrooms and Cole County Circuit Courtroom. Where is this all headed, and where does it end?
Well, my hope is that, there's no prohibition for these maps to be redrawn within the 10-year period of time. Just because it hasn't been done that often doesn't mean it can't be done. My view of it is these are political questions, right, that I think it's very dangerous for the court to say the duly elected representatives of the state can't have a map. I mean, they're accountable to people. The people then get to vote on who those folks are who are running. I think the Democrats, you kind of have in Jefferson City, I'm very familiar with it, so is Stephanie. It's sort of the last bastion of the Democratic establishment, sort of the legal cartel that exists. And this is their last effort to sort of push what they know is inevitable, is that we should have had a map all along that was a 7-1 map. It's a 6-2 map. The legislature's come in and said we want a 7-1 map. And I think that's where it should end up. Whether that's Where it ends up, I don't know. But the truth is the Democrats have been doing this for a very, very long time. All we have to do is look to our neighbors to the east in Illinois. They've gotten as much juice out of that lime as they can get across the country. And now I think Republican-dominated states have woken up and said, I guess we can play that game too. And that's politics. That's just the truth of the matter. Again, you may not like it, but Dems have been doing it for a very, very long time.
No doubt it seems like the American people are, I think, unfairly blaming Trump for the economic situation we're in right now and for high prices. Yesterday, he announced aid to farmers. Certainly, agriculture is really important in Missouri. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about that. Talk to us about ag and Trump's actions yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking a portion of the hundreds of millions of dollars that we're getting from these tariffs now and helping out the farmers as sort of a bridge until next year. So I think it's a good thing. I do think this sort of, when President Trump talks about this affordability, I think what he's talking about is what he was left with was really, sandwich. Like this was inflation was sky high. We had a wide open border. A lot of the housing prices that you see that are really high and rents being really high is because we flooded this country with 20 million illegal immigrants. So you have a supply issue there, right? And a demand issue. So it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, I think there are some, success stories. Everybody was talking about the price of eggs. Well, those came down. Everybody's talking about the price of gas. That's come down. But there's certainly more work to do. But I'm confident once you start seeing these provisions, the middle-class tax cut that we passed, the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, that goes directly to working people this time next year, we'll be in a much better position than we are right now. You just can't claw out of the hole, I think, that Joe Biden and the Democrats dug for such a long time for a 4-year period overnight. Takes a little bit of time, but there's some solid progress, which is good.
That's Senator Eric Schmitt. You might want to pick up, if you're looking for things to drop in the kids, in the older kids and anyone, college or behind, maybe even grade school and behind and forward, you should pick up this book, The Last Line of Defense. Maybe drop it in the stocking. Maybe ask Santa for that, How to Beat the Left in Court, Senator Eric Schmitt's book. Hope it's doing well, Senator Schmitt. And I'd like a little update because we talked with you back in, I think it was right after August, when you worked with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and other DOJ officials to really usher in an infusion of FBI presence in St. Louis. Is that beginning to pay off? Do we have any dividends on that yet?
Yeah, by the way, thanks for plugging the book. It's a New York Times bestseller, and no doubt because of this show and all the great people in mid-Missouri that have read the book, it is a good stocking stuffer. Yeah, we had Kash Patel in St. Louis a few weeks ago to really kind of announce some of the progress. Over 500 arrests. St. Louis now, we all are aware of the crime issues. It's getting the largest infusion per capita of permanent FBI agents anywhere in the country. These aren't just paper pushers, and this isn't just a one-time thing. These are people who are going to be permanently stationed in St. Louis to take on violent crime. That's a positive. I've asked Kash Patel to come with me to Kansas City. We want to do something similar in Kansas City. And it really kind of stems from the initial, during the confirmation just about a year ago, where he was in my office. He was talking about trying to get FBI agents out into the field. And I said, we've got a couple of great places in Missouri for that to happen. And so he's been great about this. And we expect to continue to work with Pam Bondi, who's a friend at the DOJ, to make sure Missouri has all the help that we need, all the resources, all the field agents to take on violent crime in our state. So very positive development.
Certainly, I think for a lot of folks, safety is number one, so we appreciate your efforts on crime. We also saw that you were weighing in on a less serious topic with all of the college football drama. You said, let me say this, expand the field. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Care to explain those comments?
Well, I mean, now you got something I really want to talk about, which is college football. No, I think it's inevitable. It has to happen. I think whether it's 16 teams or 24 teams, I think where we're at now, which I think is a good development, as opposed to, a group of people picking two teams and somebody being left out to play for the national tournament or championship, to have a real tournament here. And I think it opens up the field because there's no doubt there's a couple of teams for sure that will be left out that could make a serious run. You're always going to have those debates, but I think if you have a bigger field, you're going to actually have the best team come out of that. And I think this is a really interesting time in college sports. And in many ways, this NIL era has been great for Mizzou. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge Mizzou fan. You guys are too. It's allowed, say, teams like Mizzou and Ole Miss to kind of take on the so-called blue bloods, right? So it's not just 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 teams every year that are being considered. You can actually go out, acquire talent, elevate your program. Coach Drinkwitz has done a great job with this. Laird Beach, the AD. And I've talked to Coach Drink about this, about what does it take. I mean, I'm glad he's staying. We want to be part of the process to continue to make Missouri a top-tier program, which is what it is. And I think Mizzou will be in that tournament hopefully next year and in the years to come. But the truth is, college football now is just dominating on the revenue side. So there's a lot of interesting things happen, whether it's on the transfer portal, whether it's more revenue sharing. Obviously, you got the two big conferences with the SEC and Big Ten that are continuing to get the lion's share. And, at least right now with the field, the majority of the teams, and rightfully so. But you're always going to have, I think, this debate about who should be in, who should be out. But I think it's time to expand the field. It's a lot of fun. I love it. Saturdays and SEC football are just kind of what keeps me sane. That and the Cardinals, although it's been kind of a rough year.
I'm asking for a lot here in the last minute we have, but I'm channeling what I'm hearing from a lot of your supporters, GOP supporters, MAGA people, and here's what I'm hearing. Are the Republicans going to cave on extension of the subsidies? What's your prediction?
No. We'll talk about it today at lunch, actually. There's just no reason for us to – look, the Democrats passed Obamacare, which has been a miserable failure without a single Republican vote. They didn't consult anybody they wanted. They did it through reconciliation. The subsidy that they included for people who make over 400% of the federal poverty level, that has about 40%, at least 40% of people that were signed up by these brokers that were never utilized. There was a study that happened last week where 97 out of 100 fake people enrolled in this enhanced bonus Biden subsidy from the COVID era, which was meant to be temporary, got approved, and they're not real. There is so much fraud, Randy, in all of this, and we have to get a handle on that. So this is not going to get extended in its current form, that's for sure.
Wow, beautiful. What a whirlwind and concise tour through the busy world of Senator Eric Schmitt. Hey, we hope the book sales continue all through the holidays, and we wish you and yours a blessed Christmas and a joyful and prosperous and healthy New Year.
Same to you guys and all the listeners. God bless.
Thanks. There he is. Let's come up with the business. Now that we're all buoyed by that appearance, let's talk a little market when we come back.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
A lump of coal or some gold coins in our portfolio this morning?
We're going to get to the coins, but so a little bit of coal yesterday with the markets down. Dow down 0.45%, S&P down 0.35%, NASDAQ down 0.14%. Most of those losses, the significant losses, were in consumer discretionary, materials, and communication services. And on the heels of that bad news, I'm going to celebrate Feel Good Friday a little early because I'm feeling good about this article I saw in the Wall Street Journal. It says 401ks are minting a generation of moderate millionaires. And the data is really good. So, you hear the Democrats talking about how we're getting squeezed, how the economy's in the tank. There's new data out, polling data out this week saying folks are blaming Trump, that they don't feel good about the economy. Still, Fidelity reports 654,000 people are 401k millionaires as of the third quarter of 2025. This is the highest on record. And a lot of folks have passed this $1 million mark. That number of accounts has doubled since late 2022. This is because we've had 3 pretty strong years of stock market gains. Workers in their late 30s now allocate roughly 88% of their 401ks to equities, up from 82% a decade ago. And Vanguard is reporting that the average deferral rate from working folks is 7.7 in 2024. That's high, Randy.
Yeah, that's good.
They say it's pretty high. And for the first time, half of private sector workers are saving in their 401ks. Good. They said in past periods of economic uncertainty, workers have kind of pulled that back. But even though we've had inflation and market volatility, folks are still continuing to invest in their 401ks, and it's paying off.
This news is on the heels of those accounts that will be available July 1st for parents and employers to drop some money into little ones' accounts, their own little 401ks, if you will. Parents can set them up next year and drop some money in there. That'll compound and be big when they mature at 18.
Not surprisingly, most of these 401k millionaires are ages 50 or older, about 86%. Mm-hmm. But, that's kind of the rules of compound interest, right? Yeah. Not unexpected. Also, in terms of money and in Randy's love for Trump slapping his name on everything, Fox Business is reporting that Democrats they're intending to propose some legislation to block Trump from issuing these $1 treasury coins. I don't love the Euro system where all your money is in coins, honestly, but this isn't going to be like an actual minted coin. Apparently it's more commemorative in honor of America's founding, the 250th anniversary, but it has Trump's face on it. The artwork isn't finalized yet, but the Democrats are like, under no circumstance will we have a commemorative Trump coin. And he's all about the coins. If you go, to the White House and everything, he's always handing people, he's very big on challenge coins. Almost everyone in the admin has challenge coins. You can see them displayed. But he wants this $1 coin, and Democrats are set on trying to stop him.
Sort of like Bitcoin. It's a Trumpy.
How many Trump $1 coins does it take to buy a Trump watch? Or Trump sneakers?
There you go.
These aren't
Trump
really
Bible.
These collectible coins aren't really widely distributed. The last 2 commemorative coins were for Harriet Tubman and the Greatest Generation, and they sold about like 50,000 and 80,000 of these dollars worth of these coins.
Hey, if you're in mid-Mo and you want to get into the spirit, there's an opportunity to do that in Jefferson City. John will talk about that when we come back on Wake Up Missouri. It's Wake Up Missouri. We're getting a lot of incoming texts at 573-874-9390 as I review these. Also, you can call us at 800-529-5572. We would like to hear that. Did you just say we had 3 straight years of 401k growth, even despite the last year of Biden, huh? That's good to know.
Yeah, index performance is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some significant dips in there, but long term, yes, we've had
another listener writes, welfare for farmers good, welfare for others bad. Well, I wouldn't call it welfare if government policy, something that farmers can't control, alters the cost of their inputs, fertilizer costs, like tariffs on Canada, for instance, one example. And on the other end of their balance sheet, limits their markets so their demand goes down for a good crop, the one thing they can control. And so if government shut down industries and especially small businesses during COVID, if they inflict harm on you, isn't it right that government, make that correct? I mean, you didn't ask for it to be shut down. Farmers didn't ask for tariffs to be put on Chinese products, and then the Chinese put egregious tariffs shutting off our markets for them. Interesting thought. We've been talking about that all this morning on Wake Up. If you're just joining us, farmers are going to be given, what did you say, $12 billion going to be for eligible farmers, can get a one-time payment starting in February. Well, whether you're a farmer or whether you're a small business person or whether you're an industrialist or whether it doesn't matter, you want to get in the Christmas spirit, and you can do that in Jefferson City this evening, right, John?
That is it. Capitol Rotunda in Jefferson City packed tonight for the annual, Tuesday evenings, 88th Capitol Caroling event. Begins at 7 o'clock and will be presented by the High School of Fine Arts Department, music and both vocal music and the symphony. 39th straight year that you'll hear Capitol Caroling on KWOS live from the Capitol.
What time?
7 p.m.
And if you want to watch it in person, you got to get there really early. So
like now.
Yeah.
Oh, it really fills up quickly.
People hold their seats for a long time.
Capitol Caroling started in December of 1937.
Wow.
Same year that KWOS went on the air.
Oh, John.
Young Stephanie Bell participated and played in Capitol Caroling, the clarinet, for many years. Yes, while I was in the Jefferson City High School Symphonic Band.
Wow.
And it is chilling. Yeah. I mean, the music is
the acoustics are great, and hats off to our engineering crew who literally are spending the entire day over there running mics and cables, so we have as high tech as it gets broadcasting that on the air. Then they're going to tape delay it again, I think, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Wonderful.
And if you are out of the broadcast reach on your radio, you can always just check it out on the app or online on the web, right? KWS.com.
That'll do it.
Yeah, just download that app. That'd be fun. So is there a little sing-along segment during the performance when people can join in? Or
I would defer to the clarinetist in our midst.
Yes.
The chorale, the high school chorale performs. And now that they've got the 2 high schools, I think both high schools show up.
So it's a concert.
It's a concert,
not a sing-along.
And all the lights are really bright. And I remember the worry was always that someone was going to pass out because they're in those big robes. It's hot. Yeah. They're standing there for a long time, and usually everyone gets by unscathed. But it's a lot of work for those high school students, and they do a beautiful job.
Now, when you were a clarinetist in the orchestra, did you have to play outdoors and suffer the difficulties with staying in tune or trying to stay in tune during a parade
or avoiding the horse poop?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, as John knows, we used to do we're doing fewer and fewer outdoor events, but we used to do an inauguration parade for the governor. And so the Jefferson City High School Band was always expected to march in January for that.
Oh, man.
I remember it being pretty cold.
I remember Lincoln University ROTC color guard leading the Christmas parade. And fortunately, if you're in the lead, you're not stepping around the horse poop.
There you go. Oh. That's where you want to be.
Well, it'll be a real joyful Rotunda event tonight. That'll be really something. I mean, just the setting, the grandeur of it, the acoustics of it, and whenever you see young people perform, it just warms your heart. It's great to see. I love it.
And like John said, the history of it. I mean, how many years have they been doing it? 88.
John was in swaddling clothes when this started.
I would have done it like 25 years ago, but the number of people that are sitting around like me who participated in that, who remember it fondly. My parents loved Capitol caroling. It's just the tradition of it all is really special.
And Stephanie wasn't exaggerating when she said people show up hours and hours ahead of time to reserve a seat. I mean, like in the morning for a 7 o'clock event.
Oh, really? Wow. Sounds like an Apple iPhone release.
Precisely.
Around the corner, right? Yesterday, it caught me when you were talking about that list of the most searched for things on Google. Mm-hmm. Like the Apple iPhone 17 was among the top. It was second or third. I thought that really interesting.
Yeah, I think you're, we got holidays coming up. People are doing a lot of shopping. And I think the Apple iPhone releases, in my mind, there's been a few where they release a new phone, but like the features aren't that much different. Mm-hmm. These things are expensive. So I think there are a lot of people wanting to know, okay, they're releasing a new phone. Is it worth it for me to go ahead and get the upgrade? So trying to figure out what new features does the phone add. And then also like hear from other folks who have got the phone and said, I hate that I upgraded, or I love it. The camera's great, whatever. So I like the fact that people are doing their own research.
I've seen more and more people with the, is it a Google phone or
the one that
folds
up?
Open?
Oh, I think that's so fun.
It looks neat. Like you get a lot more screen, right? I mean, does that then turn into one big screen?
Right? That's what we need, more screens. Bigger screens.
Well, if you're going to do it, you want to do it big. A big screen. The best screen.
You have the Max. I do too. I could never go back to the little tiny phone.
I don't like the little screens.
Yeah.
But they're getting heavier. Maybe it's the case that's getting heavier with all the electronics on it.
I mean, I can't hardly fit my phone in any of my tiny bags for the holidays, which is a problem. But
I am so thankful for the modern cases that you can drop repeatedly and nothing breaks. It's so good. I really like that. I drop my phone all the time.
Last phone.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
even with a case.
I've got this thing that looks like a military grade case on it. It weighs about 5 tons, but nothing's going to destroy this one.
Like when you forget and leave your phone on the top of your truck and it flies off.
Oh, I did that once.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't good. Yeah, but it survived. I put it there on the bed of the truck, the cover for the truck. Wasn't a good thing. So this morning we had, has this ever happened to anyone out there? I have to tell you the story. So I told you that we had, sort of do you notice I have a short sleeve shirt on and it's cold, right? You'd wonder, Randy, why do you do that?
Normally, you look like my grandpa.
Oh my God! Here we go again. Here we go. The ageism.
When does he not, Stephanie?
John, I remember that's what they used to wear, right?
I'm a simple guy. What can
with
I
ties?
But
okay.
you have an excuse.
So normally I like to wear a sweater over the shirt. So this morning I'm getting ready I'm like on my way to the chest to get the sweater out. And Helene says, come on in here. We have a problem. I'm like, honey, it's 5:30. It's 5:35, whatever time it was. I was like, I've got to get to the studio quickly. I'm already late.
And she says, I have an emergency.
We have a problem. I'm like, what's the deal? Is the dog dying? Is a bird fly in and break the window? What happened? The tree is tilting. I'm like, what? So now remember, we opened the
Leaning Tower of Christmas.
Yeah, this Griswold tree.
It's a real tree, correct?
It's a real tree, and it's a 9-footer this year, and it's so wide I can't even see the TV. I have to watch TV on my iPad, and it's a beautiful thing. But she decorates it a lot. We have this stand that has a peg in the middle of it, and at the farm they dangle it to where and then they drill a hole in the bottom of it, and it's centered. So whether the tree has a little tilt in the
you don't have to do the screws on the side.
Screws
That's
on the
always
side.
a pain.
Yeah, it never works.
That makes sense.
Well, for some reason, I don't know what's happening, but maybe it's sucking water like you can't believe. This thing, we're having to put a pitcher of water in every 2 hours. It's crazy. And I'm thinking, what happened? And it is tilting. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So I had to turn the tree around, and she's got it less decorated on the side that faces out to the street.
Of course.
Right? Of course. So, but then she says, well, yeah, but the tree, the part I decorated, because now it's tilting in. If it falls, it'll at least fall into the window because it's right against the window, and it won't fall over and crash against everything else. So now I'm going to have to go home and figure out a way to turn the tree around, put a screw eye in the wall and tether it. I think I'll use some monofilament fishing line and tether it. What do you think? Would that be a good Rube Goldberg solution? Huh?
Or you could do the other routine and turn it upside down and hang it from the ceiling.
I like this plan.
Like the Dr. Seuss.
We've
guy.
had a tree fall, a fully decorated tree
We
fall.
did
Has
too.
anyone had that happen?
We had cats when I was younger, and they would climb the
Oh,
tree.
yeah.
And we lost one year.
So that's my project this afternoon or evening. I got to figure out how to tether this tree in a manner that shows off her delicately and intricately decorated tree.
Without breaking the mugs.
Without breaking the mugs. I hope those eBay mugs. Yeah, you broke my mugs. Don't worry, no problem. They're only 30 years old. Oh. Oh, I love it. I was telling a patient yesterday, my wife, and I love this, she probably has some diagnosed and never to be treated. You don't want to treat it, but Christmas decoration thing. She loves decorating it, so the house is all beautifully ready to go. And I love that. But it's just, you can't, it's like walking through eggshells now. You have to watch out. The dog's tail hits something, like, oh, there it goes. Now get out the super glue. I got to fix that one.
We lost a couple nutcrackers, and the other thing that I
nutcrackers, I love those.
I got this out this year, and I was asking folks about it because the snow globes.
Oh yes.
And I got one out, and it was like all yellowy on the inside, like it had like spoiled or something.
Do you have the one that has the circulating motor on it? That
I do not.
We have several of those where I don't know what the solution is in there. It's like a thick water, and you turn on the battery, the powered thing, and it circulates the snow.
I guess I thought the purpose of snow globes were they were like kind of commemorative, but do they like go bad after a while? I wonder. I threw this one away.
Probably like Caro syrup in there or something.
As cute.
Yeah,
it's
sort of
not
like
yeah, well, it's not as cute when it's yellow snow.
No. Well, yellow snow is definitely not cute.
So
no, definitely not
trash.
Cute. Don't eat the yellow snow.
Watch where the Huskies go. Thank you, Frank Zappa.
There you go. We're having too much fun here on a This is the last day that you can say it's still single-digit December. Tomorrow.
Oh, Randy.
Tomorrow is
Put the
double-digit
pressure on
day in
us.
December. I'm just saying the anxiety will ramp up another quantum leap then. So enjoy today. We'll wrap it up with some leftovers when we come back.
It's Wake Up
Alina Habba news. She was formerly a personal attorney for President Trump. She resigned yesterday from her role after an appeals court ruled she was unlawfully installed in that position. And then also I've been watching, there's this rift bubbling up in Colombia, Randy.
Oh, yeah.
I think Mike Murphy, will hear more from him about that later today.
Maybe Gary and Mike Murphy will be talking about that. Gary comes along after us, and Mike Murphy, of course, on Eagle Eye Drive at 5 o'clock on the Eagle. You know, at the Public Safety Commission, apparently, you're just hearing rumblings from various committees and council people, and Vera Wood, is that her name, Vera Wood, the councilwoman? Well, they're talking about crime in my district, and I wasn't invited to the meeting. So a lot of people are feeling butthurt that they're not invited to certain meetings. We talked about the meeting with Governor Kehoe and Moon Choi, and I get the sense that there's this sort of Hatfields and McCoys developing between leadership in various places in the city of Columbia, and on the other side of the fence, Moon Choi and allies, including the governor, on the other side of the fence. Now, that's just, I think, the big high-level public perception.
You mean people who care about safety and people who don't? People who care about crime and are trying to do something about it, and people who aren't?
People who want to send a social worker to a domestic dispute, which is fine, maybe after the police do their job, but I'd be worried for the safety of the social workers, right? I mean, what the heck are you doing? No, I think there are successful examples of, like, groups of people going to those kind of things that include law enforcement and some other people that deal with those kind of problems. We'll have to learn more about that. We'll see you tomorrow with Zach Smith from Heritage and more tomorrow on Wake Up.
Bye.